But now we are ready to introduce the second key speaker, Arve Howlid. He is currently a social and outreach worker in Tønsberg municipality. And he is saying, empowerment is both a goal and a central value, and a resource in public health issues. Several statements from youth participating indicate that they are conscious of others' negative judgments of them. The youth themselves becomes hosts of repressive processes, and awareness of such can be liberating. So I will present Arve Howlid's Exploring Outreach Work with Street Kids as co-researchers.
Hello, thank you very much for having me at this seminar. I will be talking, like Tone said, about inviting street youth into developing outreach social work. And I'm very happy to be here. My name is Arve Howlid, and I've been an outreach worker for about 25 years in Oslo and Tønsberg. Also done some other youth work. I'm now a part-time student doing a master in public health, where participation practice that involves the meeting between social workers and youth in the street is element. This presentation will guide you through a search for answers we did in the streets in Tønsberg last year. The outreach service then carried out a participation process towards a marginalized youth group. This provided awareness about both the youth group and the outreach service. This was concentrated around the region's most central bus hub, that's inside the city center, and also at the ground floor of the region's largest shopping mall. The youth that participated appreciated being taken seriously. By using renowned process methods towards young people in the streets, the outreach service became more relevant for these youngsters. Subsequently, we received several inquiries from youth in the area seeking our help and advice. Consequently, outreach services should do more of this. Maybe also other youth services. The outreach service where I work, we conducted in 2018 and Rapid Assessment and Response report. Rapid Assessment and Response is a method developed by the World Health Organization, especially considering vulnerable youth. And this report pinned out the bus hub as an area when we were looking into teens, teenagers, and alcohol and drug use. Then we needed to focus more on this area, and that's why we went for some new methods to collecting data from this urban street environment. And this is what I will highlight further. For an outreach service, cooperation with youth is always voluntary, and it's based on informal contact, and the service has no decision-making authority. So this is the place I'm coming from. The rapid assessment and response is made in cooperation with different actors in the local environment. And it always leads to an action plan based on existing local services. And I will get more into the three methods that we used in this process. But one of the highlighted activities in the action plan made from the Rapid Assessment and Response Plan was for the outreach service to spend more time around the central bus station. All participants in this rapid assessment and response process emphasize this area, both the youth in the area, youth NGOs, police, childcare services, shopping mall, security. So this is a highlighted area. And when we are going to look into this highlighted area, we need to look on how do we perform at the bus hub today as an outreach service. How could we find this out? Who are going to tell us? Why should they participate? So we did this quite scientifically with these methods, and we published this as an academic article. This article was published in Norwegian last autumn and will be published in English in this seminar later. There were 3 methods that we used in this process: reframing, brainstorming, and blueprint. These are methods that are available for you to use. You will find online resources if you need. I have picked up 2 that I show in this slide: servicedesignTools.org and prosessverktøy.no. To start with the reframing, this is just a couple of minutes discussion of a specific core opinion. So we were going out to this bus hub area. We needed to see what are our status in this area, and we found that we have good contact with youth in this area. And then this reframing goes into support this core opinion, and then to falsify it, try to find wrongs with it, and then to create a new core opinion, or just confirm that your core opinion is right. So we confirmed that the core opinion was right, but we added 1 sentence. This sentence is that every youth has their own perception of the outreach workers. So we're now moving from what we see to what the young people may see in us. Then we did this brainstorming process with the youngsters. This is fairly conventional brainstorming process with the flip chart and markers. For a social worker, this can be quite challenging because you are gathering information and you are not working as a social worker. So we have to lean back and let this happen. And we opened for an oral process. We did not use any markers for the youngsters. We know that some of these kids are not very good at writing. The theme of the brainstorming was that we needed their help to do our job best. And we marked this out in some big posters. And then we went through the process as a conductor that initiates, guides, and pulls the participants through the process. Then afterwards, we used this blueprint, which is a method more commonly used in shops and commercial activities than in health service for youngsters. This method is, in a way, you look into 1 specific meeting with your customer or your service, the kids you're meeting. We went for 1 meeting with 3 kids in the shopping mall area. And at the top, you will see that the customers, they see something. They have an opinion about what they see, and they can see that we are in the area. Then they do something. They can approach us, or they can be approached by us, or they do something. And then the physical meeting is the interaction between social worker and youth at this area. Behind the scene activities, that means that while we are at the scene, we also have available resources that we can find, like what activities can we promote to these youngsters, or what services could we promote. And then there's the institutional supportive resources. We are a municipality service, so we have a great deal of resources in cooperating services. So this method is a very good method to try to pin out what is the actual meeting between youngsters and social workers. And then we had this outcome, and we found out that the youngsters, they wanted to, said that we should not address themes ourselves, we should wait for them to find a way to see what their agendas are and follow what the youngsters say. They said that they wanted us to be there in the afternoons, and when we went into what time, they said between 3 and 9 in the evenings. They also said that Friday nights was very difficult. They said that we should present ourselves to different new people that showed up at the area, but we should not write things down. They considered that writing down is some controlling, so they don't fancy that very much. They also wanted us to inform about other activities. And then why did they tell us? Then I come to this sentence that is some sort of a core of social work. We see something that annoys us and we do something about it. But there could be something wrong about this sentence. If you turn it around, don't just do something, sit there. Then you are moving to letting people take control. So this is what we did when we met these youngsters. We asked and we let them talk, and we took notes, and we did not intervene as social workers, do something. We sat there taking notes. When we invited the kids, this is a crucial part, because inviting youngsters, often they may say, yes, we'll show up, and they won't show up. And from an unstructured place like the bus hub, we often invite people just ahead of an arrangement, because they are not always so good in planning. So we went there a couple of hours before the planned brainstorming. We got to talk to 3 youngsters, and they said, hey, you must post it on Snapchat. And then they looked at me and my partner, my colleague, and they said, we can post it on Snapchat, So they offered to do that. So we let them do that. And this is some sort of, in order to letting somebody else take control, you have to let go of control. So that's the part of the don't just do something, sit there. And the design and distribution of the invitation was now beyond our control. It was taken over. It felt strange, but right. It was posted by some who had an interest of their own in this meeting. And I find this as an example of empowering practice. And the youth, they do this better than us. They are better at Snapchat. So this brings us to the superpowers. I'm a social worker. What's your superpower? When meeting some youth out in the streets, you should always look for their superpowers. In the past slide with the Snapchat, you see that the youngsters are better at Snapchat than I am. That's one of their superpowers, to communicate with their equals. And when you get to release the youngsters' superpowers, you may find your superpower in youth work. And then we have this empowerment. We think that active involvement in spreading the invitation is empowerment. And empowerment is a goal, and it's a central value and a resource in working on health issues. And by exploring adolescents' experiences of the outreach service and publish these findings the same evening on Facebook, these young people got an opportunity to influence their own lives and their own surroundings. And they could see concrete examples, and they could share it. Then empowerment is crucial in all youth work. If you look at the 12-year-old kid, he may be playing with his friends, while a 20-year-old may be a full-time worker, a student, a parent, your electrician. So from 12 to 20, you are going from being controlled to having control. And through this process, everyone needs a variety of mental support. So as youth workers, we have to support this process and strengthen all their vital relations. And by vital relations, I mean relations to community, to school, to family, to friends, to NGOs, to anything that could be vital for their personal development. When we asked these kids about our service, we also found out what they say about themselves. They have a quite good description of themselves. They describe this area as an inclusive environment with several negative traits. They say the use of drugs and self-harm is referred to as common. That doesn't mean that everybody uses drugs or self-harm, but it's commonly spoken about. And they wanted the outreach workers to intervene in quarrels, drama, rumors. They wanted us to contribute to a positive atmosphere, and they wanted us to make them smile. One of them said that they often greet each other negatively. "You look ugly today," they could say to each other. This was confirmed by the group, and they know that this puts them in a bad mood, and they wanted our help to stop these bad language habits. Later the same evening, as the ID busing took place, we met other adolescents who also wanted a similar process, but on another theme. So we experienced the process as meaningful, and obviously somebody had been talking about it amongst the youngsters. Later the same spring, some students from the university took contact. They wanted a similar process, but their topic was violence between adolescents. So we conducted a similar invitation and experienced a comparable seance. And even later the same year, we received several inquiries from youth in the same area, seeking our help and advice on different issues: housing, school, work, friends, mental health, drug, family. So the outreach service, by this, became more significant. By letting youngsters participate, we became more significant. And marginalized youth had gained a place to seek advice. So after completing this process, several thoughts came to mind. It's obvious that thoroughly planning provides a roadmap that makes the process manageable and transparent. And actually we made a schedule with times on the 3 methods we used: the reframe, the blueprint. So planning and the open bio plan is important. And for this process, we did not just do a process with the youngsters. We also did 2 processes just internal in the workplace: the blueprint and the reframing. For our process, the combination of methods seems crucial. We who work in the area by this became more aware of what we are taking part of, and the process helped us to see both the youth, ourselves, and the area more nuanced. And we could talk about it. We could make an academic article about it, and we can get it published and get it discussed also internal in the municipality. So this is kind of a question that I ask for myself, and I think youth workers should ask. What's your role when asking your target group? What's in it for them, and why should they talk to you? Thank you very much.